Okay, I'm going to give you the quickest tutorial rundown I can of how you would be doing a spread after you are assigned a topic that maybe you know nothing about. I'm going to be using the example of girls' tennis because I, for one, do not know much about girls' tennis, and I know for a fact that nothing is happening on it. And last but not least, I know that nobody's being assigned girls' tennis. So I always like to start in Friesens just because it gives me an idea of what we have. A lot of the spreads you'll be assigned have already started generating content, so you might go into it and see that something is there. In this case, we don't. There are kind of three main areas that we're looking at when we're doing a spread. It's the photos, it's the design, and then it's like the content. So what you're going to work on for every single sport, there's going to be one of these information sheets. Okay, so let me go autofill form. I would put my name here. The deadline for this is actually going to be mid-May. I'm just going to put the 15th for now. The deadline should already be filled out for you. If it's not, I'll get you one. So, my name's Abby Linder. The sport is girls tennis. I'm looking at the varsity level. Now I need to figure out who the coach is. My easiest way to do that, there's a couple options. NDHSA Now is our one website that will get us good information. So I can go sports or activities. And of course it's taking forever to load. While that loads, I'll show you the alternative. I could just type in Cheyenne Girls Tennis. Ideally, it's going to give me some kind of a website, right? So here I can see it pops up at the top, Cheyenne High School Tennis Girls. I click on it, and here it gives me all of this information. It shows me who the coach is. It shows me even when their practice starts, where they are going to be practicing. I can look at the schedules. Sometimes there will be a roster, not always. Not every single sports page has all of this information, but here I can see head coach, it's Dan Gu, and it even gives me a website or an email link. If that wouldn't have had it, I could have used NDHSAA Now. I click on sports and activities. I can go, wait, that was boys. I don't want boys tennis. That already happened in the fall. Go girls tennis. Over here on the left, I could click on teams. Gives me all the teams. I can go click on Cheyenne. One of the nice things about using this website is they typically have the rosters updated. Obviously, girls tennis doesn't yet because they haven't had their first match. But once they do, which you can see here, it says it'll be April 11th, there will be a roster attached here. If for whatever reason there is not a roster attached, I could go to the activities office and find out from them instead. So I'm going to go back to my sheet. The coach, his name is HQ at westchester.us. Team mom / email. Some parents, like the boosters and whatnot, choose to be involved. This is something we could ask in an interview, like, do you guys have a team mom, or is there like parents really involved? But that's not going to be information that's published, so we could just put like none. Managers, this could be student managers. I don't actually know who the girls tennis managers are. I can put like, not sure, we'll look into it. Again, if I had been able to find the team roster, I would want to put a screenshot or a list here. Start date, that was at April 11th. Again, if I didn't know, I could go to NDHSAA Now, or what I can do, Cheyenne Activities Calendar. If I search it, it will pop up here. So your option 1 is the NDHSAA website. Your option 2 is going on to this. We can go main calendar. It's going to take me to this website that looks kind of weird on iPads. Might be easier if you look at this on the computer. But here you can see it shows you everything going on. So I just skimmed through it to see if I can find it. It's going to give you 1 week at a time. So I just click this arrow at the top because there weren't any this week. Now it's going to show me next week. I scroll through, I see if I can find tennis, and look, there I have my first one. So the very first one, just like NDHSAA said, it's April 11th. Pay attention to this calendar, especially over the printed calendar. You'll see things like today's baseball game was canceled and moved to the 10th because there's like 4 inches of snow outside. So you'll want to be double checking this and see if it ever changes. So your 3 options for looking at calendars is that NDHSAA Now, this easterndakota.conference.org, or the paper calendar that we have at school hung up on the wall. So April 11th, end date not including playoffs. This is one that NDHSAA Now. Let's go ahead. It says not including playoffs. Just include the very last date that is shown here. So like, I know it says don't include the East Region tournament or the state tournament, but I actually want to know those. So go ahead and put May 29th for this one. Or if you put May 31st, that would be fine. Just as long as it's kind of in the ballpark. The reason why I want the state tournament is because that's always going to stay the same. They're not going to postpone those, whereas the season can change. Team picture date, you can just put TBD or not sure. I actually get all of the team pictures sent to me from Sherling, so we don't need to worry about that. This is where I need to start doing some research. It's asking for planned events, team traditions, team sayings, team jokes, notable stats, notable moments, team favorites, 5 player quotes, a coach quote, wins and losses. You can just put TBD or not sure if the season hasn't happened yet, or fill this out if you are working on a past spread. It's like if you're doing this for football, you should be able to go and look up what their wins and losses are. All of these other information pieces might be things that you can find by scrolling on social media. I'm just going to write it here so you have it as reference. Asking players, asking coaches, asking people who care about the sport. Maybe somebody is really into watching girls tennis, even though they're not on the team, they're not a manager, so on and so forth. They probably have information similar to a lot of these categories that you could use. So filling out this information sheet is going to be your step 1. Step 2 is going to be looking at who we could interview. Usually after you have the roster, we have an idea of how we can fill this out, and it just gives you some stock questions to ask. Kind of similar to the other one, I'd put my name at the top. You'll already be given a deadline. It's always going to be the same day as your information sheet. The assignment, girls tennis, interviewee name. I know Greta Thompson's on girls tennis, and I know that she's a 12th grader. And then I can either send her an email or go find her in person and ask these questions. The reason why I recommend starting with these 2 info sheets is because it's going to help you know how much content you have for your page, so you know how much space you need to set aside for the wording. Once I have all of that, that's kind of my content piece. That's set aside. When I'm working on design, I have 2 options here. I can either build from scratch. If I do, I always start personally by putting in just a plain square. This is going to be my background. And then I go into this Adobe Express tab. Under gradient backgrounds, I can drag in the black background. Again, remember, all pages need to have this black background. That's how we stay cohesive. I'm currently in the process of updating designs. But from here, what we could do, start dropping in boxes, and I like to just kind of like plan what my general page is going to be. You might remember from when Mr. Carey Nelson visited us, we want to make sure we have some kind of dominant photo. That's a big photo that goes across the entire page. So I usually just start by putting in boxes for pictures, where I want pictures to be, how I want them to be spaced, so on and so forth. You can really do whatever you want for this. It can suit whatever needs you have. It can be whatever you want it to be. Within reason, it needs to be well spaced. It needs to make sense. It needs to look cohesive. Here I noticed that one of the boxes was kind of off. So I'm just going to drag them all correctly. One thing you'll want to make sure of is that your lines stay really even and that we have the same amount of spacing. So let's say you showed up and you're like, yep, here it is. I would go back and tell you, no, that looks bad. There's a lot of uneven spaces. One way you can figure that out is by counting these little square boxes in the background. So if I click on the black background, I go into the layer, it'll be selected. I can get rid of the little eyeball, and that'll just make it disappear for right now. So I can go through and I could count the boxes. So like 1, 2 3/4, 1, 2 3/4, 1, 2 3/4. That looks good. And oh, here we only have 1 3/4. So I know I need to move this one up. So now again, 1.5. Now it's 2 3/4. So now they are all evenly spaced. I can also click on the ruler and drag down this blue line if I wanted, or from the left side, and that will help me make sure that they are all perfectly lined up. So I could go set the line there, and then I can go look to make sure that they're all actually perfectly aligned if I'm doing something like that. Make sure you save periodically whenever you're doing this, because it does not auto-save, and if you were to just like sit and let it be, it's going to time out. So I have some pictures set aside. Maybe I decide that I'm going to want like some text here. What I like to do, I put my text box and then you can double click on it. There's going to be this button at the top called Lorem. Click on that. And then always make sure that you turn your color to white so it's visible. That Lorem button is just going to fill it in with, it's a language called Lorem Ipsum. It's literally just there so that you can put in filler text. That usually works best so we can make sure that we have that space set aside. I also need to make sure that I go through and I put in a title, so on and so forth. So I'm not going to design this entire page with you. One thing I want you to make sure of is that you are adhering to the design guidelines, all of the correct fonts and everything. If you feel like that's intimidating and you're not sure how to start with that, we have all of these templates here in this tab. Now again, I'm going to be changing these. They are not perfect as they are right now. They're going to be edited to be more cohesive with the theme using our graphics and correct colors. But let's say you really liked this spread and you wanted to use it. Instead, I could go in here and start plugging in. So girls tennis, maybe over here I'm going to have all of the seniors on the team. So then I'm going to go and I'm going to put all of their names here. Like, I can really go through and tweak this. I'm probably going to get rid of, like this section, because I don't have a king and queen in tennis. So maybe I'm going to fill it in with something different over here on the edge. So the template is another option that I have that I can use. Now from there, I can use the information on my sheet, start plugging it in. The last thing I need to make sure is that I have pictures. When I'm given a spread, I'm going to go straight to the Google Drive first. I'm going to go into the Cheyenne High School yearbook one. I'm going to go into my drive, and I'm going to see if we have a folder. We obviously don't for girls tennis because it hasn't happened yet. The other place I'd want to check is in Friesens. I can go into the photo folder. I can click down, and I can look here under sports. I can see there's no girls tennis, so I know nobody has taken girls tennis photos yet. Again, I want to go back to the schedule. I can either use that NDHSAA now or this Eastern Dakota Conference that I got from the website. And I'll remember, I already remember off the top of my head, April 11th was when their first match was. If I can personally go to it, then I'm going to go. This one, it tells me girls match. It's going to be versus Fargo South at Fargo South High School. So I would need to make sure I can go there. Let's say I can't. Maybe I can only make it to home games. I'm going to go scroll until I find another girls tennis, and I'm going to hope that it is happening at Cheyenne. So our next one is the 15th, girls tennis. It says it's at Cheyenne High School, so this is a home one. This is one I can go to. I need to make sure I get pictures here. During spring, it's especially important that we get pictures of events when they happen, because they hardly ever happen, and we play away a lot because of the weather. So if you're available, great, fantastic, do it, and no backing out. If you're not available, we need to get somebody there, so you need to communicate that. If, say, you can't be there to take these girls' tennis photos, then you can put it up to the class and say, hey, I'm not able to be here, can somebody else? In our 1B class, our main people who might be available: Kaya, Tay, Aubrey, possibly Michaela, though Michaela does soccer, possibly Aaron and Franklin and Larissa. If not, that's okay. Let's say we put it up to the entire class and not a single person is available. That's when I need somebody to email me, Mrs. Linder, and say, hey, we have nobody that can go take pictures. Because either I'm going to go get pictures taken or I'm going to send somebody who I know is available. Okay? So that's how we would get those pictures. Once the pictures are taken, either you yourself can take those pictures and upload them, or you can hand them off to Kaya, Tay, Keenan. All three of them are very open and willing to go through and start sorting through pictures and get those uploaded so that they would be ready to be dragged and dropped over into your spread. Okay. My baby is crying, so I'm going to make this fast. We talk through design and layout. We talk through how to get pictures and how we can find out when they're available. Also, these events are usually written on the board. We talk through gathering content. Yeah. That's the quickest overview that I can give you on how to create a spread and get started on one. I'm sure I am missing a lot, but hopefully this was semi-helpful in getting you started.